psychology, sigh, now, 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 echo, echo, echo. What was most heartbreaking, disrupting, and disgusting, aside from being locked in my own home, with an explanation I could leave whenever I want, and not asked a question psychiatry says has to do with a mystery they're solving with their prescriptions, their medicines, their limits, their behavior, and all of the other parts of what they observe now, was when I said to my social worker counselor on a voicemail I was never, on a message, never returned, to speak when I could and wasn't limited and controlled. And I said to my social worker counselor, who's much bigger than me, who's much more cultural and diverse, ethnic, and not a racist white supremacist, they say now, in her community of elders and wisdom, philosophers and theorists. And I said on a voicemail message on her extension, I need to remove my mother from my emergency contacts, my mom, immediately, whenever she had time, now. And although I didn't have the energy to remember and have memory when she was providing therapy and mood checks about my color of my emotion, now, I said as nicely as I could and hung up the phone. Months have passed, and unfortunately, a year seems inevitable until I hear from a business, organization, nonprofit mental health building during a coronavirus pandemic, and a lot of silence and quiet from them all who I tried to contact, who I try to call on their phone, but never receive a response, except when I say an incorrect word such as now, dialect and psycholinguistics and neurolinguistics, and some accent and stimulation and reward for contacting a dominant part of planet Earth now. And I said to Community House Mental Health Organization, the relevance and importance of my request I shouldn't have to explain has to do with my mom's well-being, growing older after having a brain aneurysm, rupture, and hemorrhage. And a shunt inside of her brain and skull she worries about incessantly failing and causing a death she doesn't want now. And where the relevance with these famous and rich people I talk about has significance has to do not only with the smugness locking me in my home when I've said before, previously, don't do that now, and not swear and not cussed and not failed an observational behavioral rule now. In their system with processes called a procedure of psychology. Every day I wake up, I work towards my goals, and I have to ignore these humans who are so dominant and disrespectful, who don't care about a woman in Arkansas who raised a man who was born in Ohio and grew up in Arizona next to those gangsters and those mafia cartel, decided as kings and queens in Seattle, Washington now. And though my brain and body are prepared for tomorrow, this abuse and this suffering I talk about now with my family, as forgotten as I have been, after working towards an officer chaplaincy in a Navy, I was told was a better option than going to Iraq and Afghanistan with my United States Marine Corps buddy, Ryan Morris. The problem nobody ever solves at Community House Mental Health and other organizations with psychiatry and psychology has to do with intelligence. Always knowing more than who's being treated by these providers. Always being ahead of time and one step ahead of their behavior to observe. But these words on this video in this black image are what I will see eventually, and what could be caused, though however small of a possibility, by negligence and malpractice. When a person in Little Rock, Arkansas, gets treated worse than a son in Seattle, Washington, now.